Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on New Zealand Sports Radio. Hi, I'm Paul. I'll be your host this morning on Friday, the 30th of April. In the news today, we'll catch up on all of the golf action across the PGA European Tour and LPGA. There is news in the basketball from the NBA, the NBL, and the NZNBL as well. We'll catch up with how the football's going in the A-League. There is big rugby news, both in Super Rugby and also with the Silver Lake deal. We'll be able to speak with the NRL that was in action last night, and also the cricket where we had 2 IPL games to catch up on as well. Let's kick off with the golf then. And first up, in the LPGA, it's the HSBC Women's Championships, and Park leads the way at 8 under par. Lydia Ko is 5 shots back at 3 under par, and so tied 14th at the end of the first round. So a long way to go in that one. But Lydia a little bit off the pace initially in this one. Over on the European Tour, and it's the Tenerife Open with no New Zealanders in action there. Olsen from Norway leads the way at 9 under par. Denmark at 9 under par. Get my flags mixed up there, I think. In the over in the PGA in the States, and it is the Valspar Championship. Bradley leads at 7 under par. We have 2 Kiwis in this one. Tim Wilkinson is down in 70th place at evens, and Danny Lee again having a tough time of it, down in 106th place at 1 over par in that one. So struggling there to make the cut for the weekend, you'd have to think, with that one for Danny Lee, and Tim also on the cusp perhaps of the cut for the weekend in that one. Sticking over in the States for the NBA in the basketball, we have 10 games yesterday, including the Pelicans in action against the Nuggets. But before we get on to that one, some key results there. The 76ers beat the Hawks 127-83. Massive win for them there in that one. The Suns saw off the Clippers 109-101. The Jazz also got a very big win, 154-105 over the Kings. But let's get into the details of that Nuggets versus the Pelicans. And Steven Adams, unfortunately, got a toe injury in this one, and so only played 13 minutes, where he got 1 rebound and 2 points. But the Denver Nuggets came out firing and took a 10-point lead in the first quarter, winning that one 35-25. And they held that pretty much through to the final quarter, where the Pelicans made a fight back, but came up just short, 114-112. For the Pelicans, it was Brandon Ingram this time with 27 points who led the way, but Lonzo Ball got himself a double-double with triple-double, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, and 16 points. So a big game for Lonzo Ball there, even though they came up short. For the Nuggets, a double-double from Campazzo with 10 assists and 19 points, with Jokic scoring 32 points and Porter Jr. Getting 28 points. So pretty much those 3 carried the Nuggets in that one. From a table point of view, what does that mean then? Well, clearly the Pelicans are still struggling, down in 11th place. Up at the top of the table, the Jazz and the Suns have both clinched playoff positions, with the Clippers are currently in 3rd place in that one. Over on the eastern side, and the Nets and the 76ers have got themselves playoff positions, leading, and then the Bucks are next in the queue there, hoping to get that playoff position clinched as well. Moving over to the NBL over there in Australia, where the South East Melbourne Phoenix took on the Bullets yesterday. The Bullets won that one comfortably, 94-82. The Breakers will be back in action tomorrow at 7:30 p.m, taking on the Wildcats. The Wildcats second in the table, so that's going to be a tough old game for the Breakers, who are down in 8th, just one place off bottom in that table. Over in the NZNBL, the Taranaki Mountaineers got into their opening game of the season up against the Southland Sharks. Southland Sharks got a big win over the Nelson Giants in their opening game, but this one was to prove to be much tougher. It finished up 78-76, so a tight win there for the Southland Sharks, who were led by Cunningham with 18 points. For the Taranaki Mountaineers, Jones got 23 points, but yeah, it wasn't enough to see his team home in that one. That means now that the Southland Sharks are top of the ladder with 2 wins from their 2 games. The only team to have played two games so far. The Rams, the Hawks, and the Jets have yet to play this season, so still very much early days in the Sals NBL. So the Sals NBL there. Over in the A-League, and we had one game yesterday. Melbourne City, unsurprisingly, beat Newcastle Jets 3-1. That was a top of the table versus bottom of the table clash. That sees Melbourne City take a 4-point lead at the top of the table now. Looking good at the top there. As I say, 4 points ahead of Sydney FC and Central Coast. And they've also played one less game than those two as well. Moving on then to the rugby, and in the rugby, it was provincial. All the provinces got together to vote on the Silver Lake deal, and it passed unanimously, with all 26 provinces voting for the deal yesterday. Obviously, the board also have all voted for the deal as well. This is for the $387 million for a 12.5% stake in a new company that will be put together that would have all the commercial, that would own the commercial rights to New Zealand rugby. The understanding is that about 200 million of that would go straight into the reserve fund. 39 million would be going to stakeholders, which would include the provincial unions, and 43.75 million of it would go into the commercial LP as working capital for that as well. So yes, the provincial unions there have voted all unanimously. The New Zealand Rugby Players Association still are not happy with the deal, and it looks like they're going to have a couple of weeks break in talks between New Zealand Rugby and the Players Association while they reconnect with their stakeholders before coming back to talk about that as well. So we have to wait and see if the Players Association will agree to this deal or not. That looks like the final stumbling block that needs to be overcome for it to happen. In Super Rugby action for this weekend, the Chiefs have named a very inexperienced side for their game against the Blues. Clearly having their eyes on the final against the Crusaders next weekend, they've rested a whole host of players. There are 5 debutants, plus another 4 players that only 1 cap in the Chiefs side. It's been reported about 6 debutants, but one of the players, we believe, had 7 minutes or so off the bench for the Highlanders last year. So either way, it's a very inexperienced side for the Chiefs going up the road to Eden Park to take on the Blues this weekend in the final round of the regular season for the Super Rugby Aotearoa. Don't forget, tonight it is the Hurricanes versus the Highlanders, and we will be live straight after the final whistle with post-match reaction. Tomorrow, before the men's game, we see the first ever women's Super Rugby game between the Blues and the Chiefs at Eden Park. So that's followed up by the final game of the regular season with the Blues versus the Chiefs men's team. And then we head over the ditch to Australia for their elimination final between the Brumbies and the Western Force in Super Rugby this weekend. Popping over to the NRL then, and yesterday we had that game. It was not yesterday. That game was the day before, wasn't it? Yesterday we had the first game of Week 8, which saw the Raiders lose to the Rabbitohs 20-34. For a full preview of this round, head over to the Standoff Show, where Brad and Richie talked all about reviewed round 7, previewed round 8, and also talked about the controversial idea of splitting the NRL into conferences in that one. So great show by Brad and Richie. Finally, let's move on to the cricket, where there's been 2 IPL games. Rajasthan Royals took on the Mumbai Indians, and the Royals went in to bat first. Josh Buttler and Jaswal set up a decent opening stand of 66. Josh Buttler out for 41 in the end. Samson came on to score 42 off just 27 balls to help power the Royals to 171 for 4 off their 20 overs. The person who really put the brakes on was Bumrah, who only conceded 15 runs off his 4 overs, and also took the wicket of Dubé, who scored 35 off 31 balls. Chasing that down, the Mumbai Indians got there. Quinton de Nock, the wicketkeeper, batted through the innings, scoring 70 off 50 balls to steer his side home. With 9 balls remaining, they reached 172 for 3 there. So a measured run chase that saw the Mumbai Indians win that game. That was followed by the Kolkata Knight Riders taking on the Delhi Capitals. Kolkata Knight Riders going in to bat first and reached 154 for 6. Andre Russell with 45 off 27 balls, 45 not out off 27 balls, was the high scorer, trying to accelerate at the end there, but losing Ian Morgan and Nareen for Ducks as Yavid took 2 wickets for just 13 runs off his 3 overs. Some good bowling there. Restricted the Kolkata Knight Riders. The Delhi Capitals chased it down after just over 16 overs. Shaw at the top of the innings with 82 off just 41 balls, really powered the innings, and it was always just a matter of time as to when they would get over the line there. So Delhi Capitals winning with 21 balls remaining for a comfortable win over the Kolkata Knight Riders. You've now started the day the best way with all the important sports news. As I say, don't forget, we'll be back tonight, this evening, straight after the Hurricanes versus the Highlanders with post-match reaction. And I'll be back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. with the morning sports briefing.